This is the next episode of this series covering all of the cancelled DC projects. I'm going to be covering two sections in this one. One is on the various Wonder Woman cancelled projects, and the next will be on the Justice League, as neither kind of had enough to really make one, so I thought I would combine them into two. So, starting with Wonder Woman, the first sort of cancelled project was a show called Who's Afraid of Diana Prince, and it was a wacky take on Wonder Woman proposed after the success of the 1966 Batman series, and it would have been a show where Wonder Woman and Diana would have been two different people, and almost like a delusion of a Diana Prince upset with herself. There was a pilot that was produced, but it was never aired, and the project was abandoned. Filmation wanted to do a Wonder Woman animated series, another proposal after the success of the Batman, but nothing ever came of it. There was a Wonder Woman the Animated Series, which was planned following the success of Bruce Timm's Batman the Animated Series, and there is artwork that exists, but nothing ever came of it. Another kind of strange choice to cancel a show based off the fact that it was produced or presumably pitched by Bruce Timm, who had given them so many successful Batman and animated projects that I feel like he should have been allowed to expand. But it is what it is. There was a 1999 NBC series which was done by the producer of Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, and it was attempted. It was a series for the NBC which would have seen Wonder Woman as a young Greek history professor struggling to balance her personal life with work. No other information about it that I could find. Wonder Woman 2 was a 2011 sequel to the direct-to-video Wonder Woman film, but it's scrapped due to poor sales of that direct-to-video film. There was a TV pilot as well in 2011 that would have been aired on NBC, and Pedro Pascal was actually cast in the pilot, but would later become the villain of Wonder Woman 1984, and the show would have seen Diana as the CEO of Themyscira Industries. There was a CW The Amazons, which was going to be an origin story called The Amazons, and it was planned, obviously, and it was planned for Diana in 2012, later pushed back to 2014 and 2015, where The Flash was fast-tracked instead, and it would eventually be cancelled because, according to the writers, they couldn't find a way to create a good story for the character, and the production of the 2017 movie killed all attempts at small-screen adaptations. There was a Wonder Woman World War II animated series, which was done by Butch Lukish, who brought a pitch to WB for a series set in World War II, which was pushed aside due to the production on the 2017 film, and the idea was recycled into the animated Justice Society World War II film. There was also a Wonder Woman 1984 sequel, or a third Wonder Woman movie, as well as an Amazon's spin off, all done by Patty Jenkins. The third installment was greenlit long after 1984, and it was going to be set in the present, and then the planned Amazon spin-off was in 2019, but this was all scrapped due to the failures of 1984, as well as the plans and reshuffling of the DCU. Now, for the Justice League of America was a 1990 planned TV series with a lineup including characters from the Justice League International run, such as Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Fire, and Ice, and many, many others. There was a Justice League Mortal series, which was George Miller was the one who pitched this, and it seemed to be part of the early 2000s attempts to franchise DC alongside the Nolan Batman movies. But the failure of Batman Returns made this difficult. Maxwell Lord would have been the villain, and the writer strikes at the time kept delaying the project, and the success of The Dark Knight meant that WB moved in a different direction. And by Batman and by Returns, I mean Batman Returns, the Joel Schumacher Batman film after, I think it was the other two Batman films that Tim Burton did. There was an early attempt at a Justice League series. An initial Justice League show would have been focused on lesser known members like The Question and Dr. Fate as part of the DC animated universe, but was cancelled in favor of Batman Beyond, a worthy sacrifice, I think we'll all agree. There was a Justice League Worlds Collide series, another Bruce Timm pitch that never got picked up somehow. It was intended to bridge the gap between Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, but instead was turned into the standalone Justice League Crisis on Two Earths movie, and the two-part Better Worlds episodes. There was a Smallville Justice League spin-off that came out of an episode about after the episode Justice, and it never got past initial concept phase. There was a Justice League Avengers film, and holy hell, the fact that no one has ever made this as a crime. Bruce Timm, again, god damn it, pitched this in 2009, and there have been no updates as of 2023, which is when this was last kind of updated. And it hasn't been cancelled, but not really anything else is known. And I have a feeling it might be cancelled, given that James Gunn is kind of focusing on like only a few Elseworld projects and also on his DCU. So that's probably either just going to be shelved for a really long time or it's just going to be straight up cancelled. But nothing has been released in like 2 years, so who knows? Crisis in Infinite Earths, and before the Tomorrowverse, there was Bruce Timm, come on, who pitched an idea for an animated Infinite Earths film. I think we kind of need to move away from doing Crisis on Infinite Earths. So there was a live action adaptation. There was in 2022. There was planned for a live action version that would bring many characters from other franchises into it, but that was scrapped and it now lies in Gunn's hand. Now there was an untitled direct-to-video Justice League film, which was a planned 2008 DVD release. Couldn't find any other information on that show or on that film. There was a Wonder Woman-centric Justice League film, and James Tucker again wanted to produce a Justice League film focused on Wonder Woman. Not sure why that would have been scrapped. There was no information that I could find. There was a Justice League Gods and Mortal Season 2 that was planned, and this was announced in 2016, and it would have had 10 episodes, but was shelved in 2020. And of course, the DCU Justice League had sequels. There was plans for further sequels, but of course the failure of both the original and other films meant that this never happened. Zack Snyder's Justice League was the closest thing to a sequel, and WB decided to focus on standalones and solo films, and of course, James Gunn and Safran's appointment to CEOs of DC ended any potential future plans. There was a Kingdom Come animated films that were planned. The 2023 team behind Justice League Warworld planned an adaptation of the Kingdom Come storyline, but Gunn and Safran scrapped the idea. And just one more thing, there was a Superman and Batman TV series, which was a planned origin story featuring both of them. I couldn't find any more information about it. I also thought I would include it here as it's kind of Justice League, but I couldn't really find a place to fit it in anywhere else. So that covers Wonder Woman and the Justice League. A surprising amount for both. I kind of feel like Wonder Woman is kind of the character who hasn't actually had that many adaptations. I wasn't expecting to see this many. The Justice League kind of makes sense. They're the main sort of group in DC, so having a lot of like planned adaptations and cancellations makes a lot more sense. The next few episodes are going to be combining a lot of different ones as they do start to have less and less, mostly due to one, there just not being that much content to do with these sort of characters or teams in the first place, and two, just less ideas, I guess, or more successful adaptations. So that will be what happens for the next few additions to this series.